I want to play a game. What do you think this mobile game is about based on its ad? If you guessed this game had anything to do with Among Us, you would be wrong. What about this one? You have a girl that looks shockingly like Kim Kardashian. It then shows cockroaches and poop being made into ice cream, and then you can tap to eat. Well, if you guessed that this is a game where you make ice cream from poop, then you would be correct. Kinda. How about this game where you scan people with an X-ray to find Huggy Wuggy? Well, if you thought Huggy Wuggy had anything to do with this game, then you would be wrong. Idiot. Welcome back to the series that's a little too hot for YouTube. If you didn't know, my last video in this series was trending to be one of my most viewed videos ever until YouTube deemed it to be unfit for most advertisers and then just sent the video into the shadow realm. So hopefully the same thing doesn't happen here, and if you want to support that video, I'd really appreciate it. I'll link that video at the end of this one, because we all know YouTube won't show it to you. Anyway, we're here to talk about more awful mobile games. First, let's talk about that fake Among Us game. So the game is actually called Fidget Toy 3D Pop It Trading. You couldn't think of a title that's just a little bit shorter than that? It's a collection of little things you can mess around with, or fidget with if you will. The first one is coloring, and it has the bare minimum amount of features to be called a coloring game. Also, your finger controls the middle of the brush, meaning you need to carefully place it so the actual brush is where you want to color. I know they do this so you can easily see where you are coloring without your thumb getting in the way, but that doesn't mean it's not any more confusing. After I colored in the seal, I hit continue, got an ad, and was given a blank canvas. So I drew a crewmate to make sure that ad wasn't a lie. I feel like I was supposed to get another outline here, but I just didn't. I then played the most unresponsive and horrible game of pool ever. If a ball was on the edge of the table, I wasn't even able to move the stick back much at all to give it a good hit. After that, I played an unsatisfying round of pop the bubbles or pop the whatever the hell this is. I then get an awesome ad and try the lie detector, which isn't a fidget thing at all. Why is it even here? After that, I checked out the fidget spinner. It didn't move. It was literally just a JPEG sitting there. I could change which spinner to look at, but that was all I could do. I then find out I need to click continue to watch an ad to make the fidget spinner actually spin. This is awesome. I then spin it, but it does not line up with how I'm actually moving the fidget spinner. I then tried the light switch and then bashed my head against the wall so I could actually feel something in my life. So I am a huge fan of fidget toys in real life. They're fun and satisfying to mess around with, and that's all they're supposed to be. The problem with these mini games is that they're just not always satisfying. They try to make it work with adding a lot of vibrations and sound effects. Sometimes it can work, but oftentimes the game has a delay or is very unresponsive, making it very unsatisfying, which is obviously the opposite of what the game is supposed to do. This app certainly isn't the worst app that I've ever looked at, but it is not made with love and care, and they are not afraid to throw ads at you at any given point. Now let's check out that poop game that I'm sure you are all dying to know about. The game is called Dessert DIY. The game starts off by having you make Jello ice cream. You drag down the top, Jello falls on the tray, and after 2 seconds of gameplay you get an ad for a game I've already talked about in length. Now we choose our syrup. I chose the pink goo. You pour it, mash it all up, spread it out, cut it up, scoop it, and enjoy. You are not going to believe what happens next. A guy actually walks in saying that he wants a poop dessert for his ex. At this point of playing the game, I audibly gasped. I could not believe that the ad was not lying. However, you do need to watch an ad to make the poop ice cream, you know, as if this was a reward, because you do have the option to make another ice cream for the guy, but if you want to make the poop, you need to watch the ad. But the unfortunate thing is, at first, the ad just wouldn't work. I tried closing the app, uninstalling it, reinstalling it, turning my phone off and on again, making a blood sacrifice, but nothing seemed to work. So defeated, I initially gave up and stopped playing the game. But then 2 days later, I give it another shot, and guess what? I can actually watch the ad! Fun fact, this is actually how I found the Huggy Wuggy ad. So now the steaming turds are on our dish, and we make this poop ice cream in essentially the same way we made the last ice cream. We choose our ingredients, put our greasy little fingers wherever the game tells us to, and voila! You have made ice cream with poop, chocolate, and live ants. So what happens once it's made? Well, the guy gives it to his ex, who must be blind and not be able to smell considering they take a bite out of it, and the guy laughs, and that's literally it. After that, I decided to make one one more frozen treat, and while this time it was a popsicle, the gameplay did not vary much at all. At this point, I figured I'd seen all this game had to offer, even though it was very little, so I was going to uninstall the game, but that was until a very specific customer walked right into my doors. Kanye West himself walks right up and asks to be surprised. So Kanye being here makes me all the more confident that they actually did use Kim Kardashian in their ad. At this point, I knew I could not uninstall this game. I had to serve Kanye some ice cream. Since he's a VIP, I now have more options when making my ice cream. For example, I made the ice cream out of hot dogs and cut it into poop shapes. Aside from the extra options, which I guess is nice, nothing changes when there's a VIP. So anyway, I give him the hot dog ice cream, he enjoys it, and that's it. And if you were wondering, yes, they cram as many ads into this game as they can. I would give you the ad to gameplay ratio, but I did play most of this game with the airplane mode on, and I didn't play for very long, so it's not worth it. But just so you know, there's a lot of freaking ads. If you can believe it, I'm just saying. Finally, let's take a look at the Huggy Wuggy game. The name of the game is Find the Alien, and in the game you find the alien. Who would have thought? The ad does actually show the first level properly, the only difference is they replaced the alien with Huggy Wuggy. So this is how the game works. You have an X-ray device that you use to find the alien. Once you find it, you switch to your gun and then shoot them. In between levels you gain progress towards a new gun that you eventually have to watch an ad to get. And of course, between at least every other level you get an ad. And this time I will be telling you the ad to gameplay ratio, so don't worry. So after you play through the first 5 levels that all play exactly the same, we shoot the Alien King. Now the king is much more resilient than these other pitiful aliens, and he does not die once he gets shot. Instead, he gets up and says, "Pitiful humans, you cannot stop the invasion. I'll be back." He then vanishes off in a puff of smoke. But if you look, you can see him creeping away in the background, which was genuinely funny. At this point, we can also claim our new gun. Of course, I watched the ad for it and use it in the next level. In that level, we're busting down an alien dance party. This time, there's no need to bust out the X-ray. All we do is shoot them. And here I'm using my new gun, but it doesn't do literally anything different. I'll tell you right now, I unlocked every single gun in the game and none of them have any differences to them. The only changes are visual and audio. If you for some reason are going to play this game for yourself after this video, just pick your favorite gun and call it good. Anyway, we have to stop the aliens from getting to us and make sure you were on your A game because these aliens move really fast. No, but seriously, these aliens dance way faster than they can run. Once you defeat all the aliens, you go to a side room where you rescue 9 citizens who dance as soon as they get rescued. And of course they're dancing purely off of natural instinct, because what else are you supposed to do once you get freed from aliens? You then get a look at the world map and you see that you've freed 9 out of 102 citizens. At this point, I had a decision to make. Do I stop playing and tend to my Neopet? Or do I tell him that he must wait while I save the city? It was a very tough choice. I really didn't want to leave him behind, but I knew if I didn't, 102 people specifically would die. I told him I had to go, and he understood. And so I played the rest of the game. I'm gonna tell you right now, there is no evolution of gameplay at all. The entire game will continue to boil down to scan, find the alien, shoot the alien. Sometimes you have to scan 2 or 3 different groups of people to find all the aliens. Sometimes you have to wait for the alien to be revealed. And sometimes you have to carefully time your shots so you don't hit a civilian. As the game goes on, they do add more mechanics, but none of them are game-changing. Aliens can now hide as objects, animals, or be invisible. UFOs can even be found impersonating animals. Sometimes the aliens are small, so it's slightly harder to find them. And no, you don't even have to aim for the alien specifically here. You can tap anywhere on the person to shoot them, and it counts just the same. And sometimes they have a tower jamming or X-ray device, so you need to shoot it first, and then you can continue to scan, find the alien, and then shoot them. On top of all of that, the game crashed for me a couple times. Not to mention, this game is full of inconsistencies. Like, for some reason, animals don't have skeletons. Certain aliens are clearly bigger than whatever they're impersonating, but the game doesn't even try to make them fit. You can see through most objects, but not if the game is randomly treating them as an obstacle like this train. Plus, sometimes your shots don't land when you 100% shot the alien. So why am I playing this game? Is it really to save 102 people's lives? No, I couldn't care less about their lives. In fact, I only said that to make my Neopet proud of me. Please don't tell him. I'm playing this game for the story. Not gonna lie, I was intrigued by the Alien King's words. I was wondering if this plot actually goes anywhere. I don't necessarily expect it to, but you never know. Plus, you guys seem to really like it when I look at these awful plots for these awful mobile games, so I figured I owed it to you guys to see this all the way through. So each world consists of 6 ordinary levels, followed by a special level where you exclusively fight off the aliens. I'll mostly just be mentioning the special levels, and anytime we talk to the Alien King, because those are the only times there's any kind of plot progression. The first time we see the king is when he shows up at the door. Again, he says, "Pitiful human, you cannot stop the invasion. I'll be back." Then disappears in a puff of smoke to only be seen slowly creeping away in the background. And again, the next level is where we break up the dance party and then free our first batch of civilians. The next special level takes place in some kind of lab or alien base. We fight the aliens and the king, who after says, "Pathetic, you're going to have to do better than that." He then teleports away. We save 8 more civilians, including a traffic cone. So in this game, anything that the aliens disguise themselves in counts as a citizen. I don't know why, but here's a list of everything that this game considers a civilian. So obviously there's humans, but other than that, a traffic cone, cactus, gorilla, carrot, seagull, fire hydrant, cupcake, pool floaty, balloon, bear, cow, scarecrow, and toilet. I just want to say there are no way all of these citizens are paying taxes. Anyway, the next alien fight takes place in another lab type beat. We free the citizens, and in the next level we find the Alien King disguised as a cop. After we shoot him, he says, "Pitiful human, our new tactics are unstoppable." Then poof, he's gone. Sorta. The new tactics that he's referring to are the tiny aliens and the X-ray jammers. Also, this class was learning about the mitochondria, which as we all know is the powerhouse of the cell. And at this point, I'm just kind of upset because this game is actually kind of funny. Anyway, we destroy the jammer, shoot the king, and he says, "Impossible, we jammed your scanner. It's not fair." He then teleports away and we invade another alien lab and free more citizens. As you can tell, the writers are very creative and original. Next time we see the Alien King, he's at a cookout disguised as a fancily dressed man. After being shot, he says, "Party pooper, you're ruining everything, but you'll never get me." Are you sure I'll never get you? This is the 5th time I have shot you. I would say I've gotten you 5 times by now. A few levels later, we're fighting off the aliens outside near some mountains. We free the citizens, and a level later, we find the king waiting in line for free ice cream. And at this point, I'm thinking the guy's just trying to have a good time with his, dance parties and ice cream, but he just doesn't know how to have a good time without kidnapping people in his place. I don't think the writing is trying to make me feel bad for the alien, but at this point, this is how I feel, I guess. Take that for what you will. So once we shoot him, he says, "You are too late, human. We've already invaded the city. You'll never win." He then busts out some sweet dance moves before vanishing in a puff of smoke. So, this was the worst line yet. It's just such a pointless line because this entire game, I have been shooting aliens who are invading the city. So what he said couldn't have been more redundant. A few levels later, we're in the sleeping quarters of the aliens' lair. We of course kill them and save more citizens. Then the king is disguised as a fire hydrant. We shoot him and he says, "Tiresome human, you're no match for our spacecraft. Maybe you should give up?" Alright, if you insist. Okay, so this is the first time I feel like he actually gives us something kind of intriguing. Like, oh, the spaceship, you must be foreshadowing something. It'll be very interesting in the future. Right? Next time we see him, we're not in a spaceship, but another generic lab. We fight the aliens and the king says, "Think you're winning? You're not even close. I'll get you next time." He then teleports away and we save more citizens. Then we find an underground base where we kill the aliens and save more citizens. Next level, we find the king clapping in front of an ice cream truck for some reason. "Miserable human, we're superior in every way. Even our dancing is better." I hate to break this to the alien, but in every single mobile game that I have played that has had dancing, I don't think anyone, alien or human, have been actually good at dancing. Finally, we're introduced to the spaceship, which is, well, it's there. It has no bearing on the story or gameplay mechanic or anything. It's just a new thing that is now there. We kill the aliens and the king says, "Foolish human, I'll keep coming back over and over and over and over and over." He teleports away and then we save the girl and more citizens. And somehow they have now changed it so the citizen rescuing cutscene is much longer than the previous cutscenes. Awesome. Later we fight some aliens on the street and the king says, "The secret base, how did you find it? It's supposed to be a secret. He poofs away and then I save more citizens. You know, Mr. King Alien, if I can call you that, I too would love to know how I found the secret base. Because this game has given us actually zero context, but somehow has a lot of story to it, so why not actually elaborate on the interesting parts and not just this alien who is a broken record at this point? So as these levels go on, there's actually some kind of evolution. There's more levels where aliens are invading the military and we get hints that they're trying to stop the aliens. This is most apparent when they're having a meeting on how to stop the aliens. Step 1, go to space. Step 2, destroy the mothership. Step 3, cake. And step 4 is bashing your head against the wall because you're actually kind of mad that this game can make you laugh. Anyway, the king's eavesdropping disguised as a toilet. You shoot him, he says, "Foolish humans, your plan will fail. You cannot stop the invasion." There is only one level left. We're attacking what I assume is the heart of the base, or something like that. And by the way, the aliens are actually moving faster now, which is a miracle, but it doesn't really make the game any harder. Once we take down the alien king for the last time, he says, "Impossible, how could I lose? No!" He then just kind of dies, I guess. I also love how he has no idea how he lost, given that almost every single level I shoot the aliens and they never fight back. Oh no, how could we have lost? Maybe we should have done something instead of cowering in fear as that person shoots us. Like, I get it, the king is just the little gag character, he's supposed to be stupid, but just give me something here, come on. Anyway, we go to the escape pod, launch the escape pod, rescue the final batch of citizens as we watch the alien ship blow up. Earth is now liberated, everyone is rescued, we win, and all the game does is ask if we want to restart. So yeah, the story was very disappointing, but did you expect anything else? If you did, you have not been watching my other videos, or you have very high expectations for no reason. So how long did I play this repetitive, lazy, boring, yet slightly funny game? 1 hour and 1 minute. Such a waste of time. Now I will divide my playtime into 3 categories: gameplay, cutscenes, and advertisements. Before I tell you the percentages of each category, comment what you think down below. Okay, so the gameplay took almost exactly 18 minutes, which is 29.8%. The ads took 16 minutes and 25 seconds, which is 26.52%. And the cutscenes took 27 minutes and 29 seconds, 44.40%. Yes, this is a first for the channel. The first time that we played one of these mobile games where the gameplay was actually longer than the advertisements. However, the gameplay is very repetitive and there is a lot of downtime during the game. Like, there's a lot of levels where you have to wait for the aliens to appear and you have to wait for the aliens to die before moving on. So it's not like there's necessarily any less ads here. The gameplay just takes longer to waste your time. To be fair, I didn't try to mess around at all in this game, I went straight for the objective. But with that being said, there really isn't a big difference between these two numbers and it's still an unexcusable amount of ads. So if you are going to play the game for some reason, make sure you have airplane mode on. Now let's talk about the cutscenes taking up almost half of the game. If the game is very story driven, then obviously I have no problem with the game taking up about half of the gameplay. However, I showed you guys the entire story. This is not the case here. This is hardly a story. The entire story is basically the same repetitive, "Oh, how dare you, I'll get you next time" dialogue from the alien. And then we free citizens and that's it. And there's moments where I could have used more context, so if this wanted to be a story-driven game, they could have done it and it probably could have been kind of funny, but they just chose not to. So obviously we've been talking about the story in the game, so there is story in the game, but most of the time I calculated for the cutscenes is not story. So if we add up every single time that we talk to the king and just that, in other words, if we add up the only dialogue in the game, we're given a total of 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Meanwhile, if we add up all the time that it took for us to count up the citizens after we save them, that would be 6 minutes and 26 seconds. But that's not all. At the start of every single level, there is a very mini cutscene that has you walking from some random starting point up to the level, and then you can actually start playing. So if I add up all of those very short mini cutscenes, we are given 15 minutes and 14 seconds. So that means in total this game is 26.52% ads, 29.08% gameplay, 9.38% dialogue from the king, 10.40% of freeing citizens, and 24.8% of waiting for the game to walk to the level so you can actually start playing it. We are almost playing the game for the exact amount of time as we are waiting for the levels to actually start every single level. So if you look at it like this game is just as bad as the rest. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video because I did not enjoy playing these awful games. Again, please check out my last video because YouTube refuses to promote it. And I really don't want this video to die because YouTube deems this as not suitable for most advertisers. So if you want to, please give it a watch. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, thank you all for watching and I hope you all have a fantastic Tuesday.